Most of us live in a community. Your community may be big or small, but it's still your community. Besides your residential community, you may be part of a community of people who share the same interests, such as hiking, fishing, hunting, reading, painting, creating music, whatever your passion. The more people talk about your community, the more people know about it. The more people get involved in it, and the better it gets. Our Farmington, New Mexico community has many really great people in it. But two faces are usually seen on the front lines doing everything they can to make our community better. That's Jamie Church and Addie Battencourt. They're both involved in so much. These two amazing ladies often get together over a cup of coffee and chat about everything and come up with a million ideas. One of those ideas was to create a podcast based on their conversations. So of course they had to name it Over a Cup of Coffee. Hopefully, many more people will follow their example and start creating amazing content, all streaming straight out of our community. I'm going to pick up these two brilliant chatterboxes and see if I can keep up with them. Want to see how it goes?
Come along for the ride in Ken's Think Tank.
Ken's Think Tank is made possible by the following sponsors. Ken Collins Marketing. It's simple. We help small business owners get more customers.
Yeah, and my son, I really think it's a genetic thing with us because he came home from daycare at 4 years old one time and just let out this string of words that I had no idea he even knew how to put together in that format. And I was like, oh, laugh. I'm gonna laugh. I have to walk away from you. Yeah. And I went out in the backyard and I laughed until I cried. And I came back inside and I said, Alec, what happened? I held it all day, Mom. I can't do that baby school anymore. So he'd get 45 minutes after daycare every day to stand in his closet and have a cuss on. Yeah. And he'd go say every swear word he
Just
knew.
Get it all out.
He wanted to say it. It was positively for everybody.
Dude, the stress of it all.
Yes.
I held it in as long as I could.
They wet their pants, Mom. It's baby school. So frustrating.
Oh man.
Oh, funny.
Jamie and
Yes.
Addie. So people who watch this show, of course, know Jamie.
Well, I don't know about that. Actually,
Only people who watch this show.
I think
Actually,
only
you're a little
this
unknown.
show.
Yeah,
This show.
you're a little bit unknown around town. So it's a good thing that you've been on this show now 4 times.
This is my 4th time. I do feel very, very privileged and special. It's 4 times.
Right?
Goodness. And yet I still have stuff to say.
Co-host
Yes,
status?
co-host status.
You kind of are a co-host
Yes.
at this point.
Yes.
And now we have Addie Battencourt. And this is your first time on the show.
First time, yeah. Yeah, I've watched several times. I've watched all of Jamie's episodes, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was excited when Jamie texted me the other day and asked, and I was like, yes, absolutely, I want to do it.
Very cool. So, for people, because of course we all know, I'm just kidding about Jamie, she's known far and wide. So, but so are you. But there may be still a couple of people out there that don't know who you are. So, who is Addie?
Who is Addie?
Yeah.
So I am, by trade, I am the Director of Sales and Business Relations for the Home 2 Suites by Hilton here on Browning Parkway. And if for people who don't know what that is, it's a hotel.
Yes.
Because I have a lot of people that are like, what is that, an old folks home? What do you do over there?
Old folks home.
It is a hotel.
Only if they check in.
Right. See, the Hotel California. We have a lot of people that check in and don't want to leave because we do treat them well there.
Right.
So, which is a good problem to have.
Yes.
I am also on several boards in the community. I'm on the Chamber board.
Right.
I'm the finance chair as well for the Chamber, and I am on the Convention and Visitors Center board, and I am on the the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board for the City of Farmington, and I am also on the Family Crisis Center board.
So you don't really do much.
So she doesn't do anything at all.
Yeah.
She's a real slacker.
Gotcha.
My goal in life is to be a professional volunteer. So
You're well on your way.
yeah,
You've got a bunch of bullets for your resume.
right. Yeah, and then there's a long list of committees that I assist with or am on full time. So
Nice.
yeah,
Very
but
cool.
you get to a spot in life as a parent, because I'm a mom of an almost 25-year-old son, and I'm single, so I have to fill in all that time because
Right.
it's just me and my dog, and she doesn't want to see me that much.
Your dog? Of
She
course
loves me, but
she
she really doesn't want
does.
me there that much.
Oh, so now, are you from Farmington
I am.
originally?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually born in Albuquerque, but we moved back
Cool.
up here. My parents are both Farmington High School graduates. My grandfather was the original owner of Woods Insurance.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got deep ties here to Farmington.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you ladies don't do much. You just kind of wander around town,
Sleep late.
Eat out.
talking
Go to Durango
people.
Joe's. Yep, that's right.
So in all that free time,
And all
you
the free time.
you guys decided to start a podcast.
Right.
Yep.
So we would go to coffee pretty regularly. During COVID, we would go to like my house for coffee, or after COVID, let up a little bit and we could go out. We'd go out to a coffee shop and sit and have coffee and talk. And one time we said to each other, we should start a podcast, because we always have these really great conversations about all sorts of things, like
Right.
everything
Everything.
under the sun we would talk about. And one time we said we should do a podcast, and we were both like, yeah, we should do it. And then we just said, yeah, maybe we really should do a podcast.
Yeah. And we'd actually made plans to get together again, and that where great ideas die in long conversations.
Right.
And so
Right.
we had made arrangements to talk again about it. And then we did a show with Greg Allen, our update travel.
Oh, travel safely,
safe-
update, that's right.
And so we did that. And when we finished filming that, I told Greg Allen, hey, Jamie and I want to start a podcast, and he was the one that was really like, I'm in, let's do it.
Let's do it, yeah.
Oh, really? You're gonna? Yeah, okay. so we filmed our first one, a week or two later?
Yeah.
Like, it was quick. It happened really quick.
Well, because also there's that thing where you go, oh, this is great, and then you don't do it immediately, and then other
Right.
stuff gets in the
Life gets in the
way,
way.
and then you talk yourself out of it. So it was like,
Yeah.
no, let's schedule it, let's do it, let's go for this. And it was during our first podcast episode that I had to be truthful and let everyone know I'd never actually listened or watched a podcast before in my life. So it's a word, I was like, yeah, let's do a podcast. And I was pretending that I knew all about them, and really didn't know a thing about it. But Addie, thank goodness, listens to a lot of podcasts.
A lot of
So you
podcasts, yeah.
knew
All different.
really the direction that, what we should do.
What we needed to do.
Right.
Yeah. And it's been on my goal list, my 5-year plan, for a couple of years. So I knew eventually I was going
Cool.
to have one. I just didn't know what the topic was going to be and who it was going to be with, because I knew I couldn't just
Right.
be by myself. And I've got a lot of really amazing women in my life that I'm blessed with.
Yeah.
And so I have, low key behind the scenes been like, as I have conversations, I wonder if she'd do good on a podcast. But
Yeah.
then that morning that Jamie and I were talking, and I was just like, that's all, it was like the universe was saying, Jamie's it, we gotta do this.
And we just happened to luck into Greg wanting to be involved because he has a great studio already set up, and it kind of fits within his mission with what he's doing.
Right.
But we definitely wanted it to be we wanted it to be about what's happening in Farmington to an extent, but it really is more about community building
community.
all
Yeah.
over, no matter where you live. But also, sometimes we're going to be talking about some pretty serious topics, but we always want it to be relevant and interesting to people, whether they live in Farmington, New Mexico, or Farmington, Minnesota, or wherever. We want it to be something that people everywhere would be
Right.
interested in listening to.
Right.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's how we started it. And we
Okay.
call it Over a Cup of Coffee because we came up with it over a cup of coffee, and because we also want it to be like if you were sitting with a friend over a cup of coffee, what would you talk about? What kind of things do you talk about over a cup of coffee? And so it could be everything from mental health issues, parenting adult children, grief and loss, community events, theater, art, books, lifestyle, fashion. I mean, we talk about a lot of things over a cup of coffee. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So that's how we came up with the name too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And as it goes along, I mean, it could evolve, and you know what I mean. It will, especially when you have it opened up to so many different
Right.
types of topics.
Right, right.
You could see it evolve into maybe focusing a little more into something,
Right.
or maybe it just never does.
Right.
You know.
Kind of like a talk show.
But
Yeah,
what I
very
like.
similar to a talk show.
Yeah. What I like is that so many times, so many people have conversations that come through as, oh man, we should do this, or we
Right.
should do that.
Exactly.
Right.
And it never happens. It's just one of those pie in the sky dreams that you just discuss, like, man, we really should
We should do
this thing, you
right?
know?
Yeah, right.
And you
But
guys
again,
just
everything
jumped.
we did, and everything
Yeah.
just lined up, like Addie was saying, and we're both doers. That's the other thing. We are both doers, and we're both extremely driven and want to see things accomplished. We also both care, obviously, from Addie's extensive board involvement. We care a lot about the community.
Right.
It's extremely important to both of us, and we've talked about that on this show a number
Right.
of times, Ken, that it's about community and where you live, and so I think
And being
that
happy
piece of
where
it.
you live.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a big part of how are you going to have a joyful, blissful life if you don't love where you live?
Right.
And if that community that you're in, whether it's this one in Farmington or any other community, isn't doing it for you, are you ask yourself some questions. Are you involved? You know,
Yeah.
Are you trying to
are
make
you
a difference?
Trying to make it better. What are you doing
Exactly.
to change that piece? And is it truly that you have tried and you're not finding it there? Then go somewhere
Yeah,
else.
go somewhere
aren't,
else.
Right.
We're not rooted into this ground.
Or change your mindset.
Exactly.
I have this old thing, this saying that I've tried to. It seems like it covers everything. If you're not happy, get happy. And there are lots of. So if you're not happy in a job, either you need to change the way you look at that job, or
Find a
change
new
how you
job.
approach it, or find a new job. If you're not happy where you live, same thing. Change how you look at it. Maybe get involved in something. Find something that you do like about it, or change where you live. Or so if you're not happy, get happy. And I think that's a lot of. You can move anywhere in the country and be completely happy or completely miserable,
Exactly.
Right.
depending on how you feel about it, how
Right.
you go about it.
Right,
So
exactly. So that's how the podcast originated, and then we did, we did really feel like we have a lot to offer here in Farmington, and so we hope that people listening from wherever they're listening think about, wow, that sounds like a really neat community. Maybe we'll go visit there sometime.
Right.
But even if they never come visit here, they live in a community, and so hopefully they're getting information, or this just entertaining, or they're learning something, and we have a great time doing it. I think Greg's about to pull his hair out with us. However, we're getting better. We're
Yes.
trying to
Yeah.
be a little more professional about it, but
Yeah.
we're having a very good time.
You
I
know,
think too, like yesterday I pointed out, because Jamie had a rough start coming into yesterday's filming, but people, we're always on.
Right.
In our
Yeah.
public life, we're always on. We're always in some sort of performance mode of professionalism. And I think it's important that all of these interactions that we have, people do get to see Jamie and I as real people.
Yeah.
And see that we are funny, and we do have hard days, and we do have trip up moments, and we do have great successes, and that we are normal people like everybody else, and anybody
Right.
can do all the things that we're doing.
Right.
Right.
You just, again, it's that mindset. You have to wake up
Yeah.
and go, today's the day, I'm going to conquer it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it.
And we feel like there are a lot of great, you being one of them with your show and other shows that I'm on and other radio things, we feel like there is a lot of information about what's going on in Farmington. Great information. So we
Yeah.
didn't want to duplicate that. It was more just showing people there are great things happening in our community, but then talking about things that are relevant no matter where
Right.
you are. And I felt too, like coming out of COVID, that people needed to reconnect with their community. We'd been so isolated, and we had been shoving this message through the chamber: shop local, eat local, support local. What does that mean? What does it mean to support your local, no matter where you are? It's not just about shopping. It's also about showing up for events. It's about being there for people. It's about cleaning up the trash you see on the side of the road. It's taking care of your neighbor. I mean, it's more than just shopping, eating, and so what does that mean? And so especially coming out of COVID, I think the isolation and just this weird place we've been for over a year, that it just felt like this might be relevant to people who are, and there's a real sense right now too of the resurgence of small communities. And if we can help in that way of helping to build community, then I think that's a big piece of it. But community means a lot more than just how many parks you have or things like that. It's about what's the quality of life?
A holistic view.
What are the things that people are interested in? What matters to people? And there's also, we're able to, because this isn't strictly chamber related, this is actually completely independent of the chamber. We can talk to any business owner. And so if we come across a business owner who's got a unique little business and we want to bring them on, or we can talk to nonprofits like we did with the Guardian Initiative, or we can talk to just anybody we want to, because it's
not affiliated to either of the businesses we work with.
Exactly. So that's kind of nice too. To have that flexibility and that freedom in that.
And so, do you think? My thought is that we need more. We need more of this. We need more people to develop shows. Develop just a pod. They don't have to do a video if you don't feel comfortable in front of video. Like, just create a podcast. This one is focused on video, but it's also in podcast form.
They can blog. I mean, there's so many opportunities to get a message out now, and so you don't even have to hear your own voice on anything. You can write about it and get it out,
and we just, I mean, to me too, I want to keep it real, because we are real, and you said that about film, and the second episode I watched, because Greg always sends them to us before we go on before he puts them onto Facebook and drops them onto our Facebook page. And the second episode I was watching, and I was being pretty critical of myself, and I was like, God, I hate that smile on my face. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I have so many wrinkles around my eyes. Oh my gosh, I'm so pale. And I was ripping myself apart for how I looked, and that's when I stopped and went, no, we are two real people. We are real, talking about real things that matter in a real community. And that's where we need to keep our focus. This is real. This isn't some glamorized.
Scripted.
This is not scripted. This is real, and we're two real friends talking about real things, and we're real people. And I think that's a tendency too we have, is to, especially as we get older, but now with age comes a lot of wisdom and experience and things I want to talk about. But I mean, I am human, and I see myself on film, and I want to, but I'm just saying that because it is real. And yesterday I went flying in for the filming. I had a very frustrating half an hour, and I was like sweating everywhere, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm running late. And but it is real. It's real life, and we want the podcast to be professional in a sense that we don't want it to come across as goofy or silly. I mean, we want it to be a real podcast that means something, but we are real people talking about things that are happening in our lives and other people's lives. So, and sometimes those things aren't going to be pretty. Sometimes we're going to talk about things that are not fun or pretty, but they're real.
Watching you guys it looks really nice. Like the intro is super cool.
That's the thing that is the intro is the thing we goof up the most. I know.
Like, it's all really neat. It is. It's just very put together. And so whatever you guys have going on in your head of, I look this way, or I sound this way, or I shouldn't have made that stupid face, or all that stuff, no one knows and no one cares.
I know.
They're just seeing you as a real person, and when you just let it be that, then
that's
so much fun.
That's exactly it, because that is who we are, and it wouldn't work if we were trying to be something we're not.
Right.
It's,
Yeah, and I actually went to a little get-together last night for a friend who was in town, and I didn't know half the women that were there, and I walked in, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, you have the podcast!"
Oh,
as soon as they heard
seriously?
my name, yeah, and I was like,
Isn't
"Who are
it
you?"
so much
It was
fun?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love
so,
that.
yeah, it was. There was quite a few women there, and all of them were like, I watch it, I listen to it.
Oh,
I
that's
love
so
it."
cool.
Yeah. So
That's
and I
awesome.
am hearing it more and more, and then like even my hotel team, dude, right to the housekeepers.
Uh-huh.
Like it's not just my management team that's
Right.
watching. Everybody in the hotel's watching. The front
Yeah,
desk agents
that's
are
so
watching.
cool.
One of my front
Can you
desk
put it
agents-
on like in the room automatically when they turn on their TV? And they're not allowed to change the channel. Can you do some cool thing like that? And all they can do is listen to all of our podcast episodes.
You have to go through all 4 of them before you can find your show.
Yeah. Before you can change the channel, that's what has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did make my kids listen to it. Both Spencer and Schaefer, I made them download it and listen because,
Yeah.
you know, the more downloads you get through the podcast community, then that
more
helps.
pushes
So
out.
I
Right.
said, and they both like podcasts. So I said, just listen and
Right.
download it and
Yeah,
help
all
your mom out.
Right.
Yeah.
All my girlfriends that live all over the country are listening to it.
Yeah.
And so many
Cool.
of them have also said, "I can't believe how brave you guys are." And I'm like,
It's not that brave.
about being
It's not in
brave.
front of a live studio
I know,
audience.
yeah, and
it's not
even
live,
we've
which
done
does-
things, and that does
yeah,
make a little difference.
yeah.
But I think, again, we're so comfortable with ourselves. and
Right.
We're comfortable in our relationship with each other as
Right.
friends and colleagues.
So don't downgrade that bravery because it is there. So many people are
Yeah.
absolutely terrified at the prospect of a microphone in their face, even if the camera is not there. But then you also throw a camera in there, and then now we've got a whole other
I
set
love
of
having
issues.
a microphone.
Yeah.
And I used to have that fear. I would
Yeah.
Oh, I
completely
love
just
it.
freeze and couldn't remember anything I was supposed
Yeah.
to say. And there have been times when I've been on the news where I was the spokesperson for the company, and I
Right.
would freeze, and somebody else would have to jump in and say everything I was going to say because I
Right.
went through it with them.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so I did overcome that, but that was 15 years ago.
Well, I'm glad you guys started it. I think it's
Yeah.
super cool for Farmington. I mean, besides all the other stuff that, because like you said, you're not. This is not what you normally do for Farmington. This is a different thing that you're doing for
Right.
Farmington, not what people are used to, and it's really cool. And I think we need more of it. And I'm glad that you guys started it, and you're trailblazers.
Yes.
So awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
So yeah. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, well, I'll be waiting for the next time you want me to
Glad
come
I
on.
finally got you to come on the show. Julie.
Yeah, I'm so shy and excluded.
Yeah.
Ken's Think Tank is made possible with help from these fine sponsors: Basin Home Health and Hospice,